This episode is brought to you by Mortgage Workflow Partners and the Mastering Encompass series, both for users as well as administrators. You can find out all the information about it over at masteringencompass.com. Also, if you'd like to check out what we're doing on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel using the @MasteringEncompass handle. And make sure you stay up to date on all the information, not just with podcasts, but also video content that we bring to you as often as possible. Now let's get on to the episode. Hi everyone, Larry Bailey here to bring you another big important update. This one has to do with a brand new document that ICE Mortgage Technology has recently released. I'm going to read it through with you because this is all about the Encompass journey. And naturally, we've got Encompass Desktop, we've got Encompass Web. I've talked about things from my own perspective, but I'm going to share with you today exactly what ICE has laid out for us on screen. Let's get into it right now. So this is the ICE quick start guide, and it's the Encompass journey. So basically how and where to start and how to leverage ICE Mortgage Technology and automation. It's put together by ICE Mortgage Technology. Thank you for doing this. I'm going to read you through, and we've got these chapters that are pre-built in here. Now, if you've heard me talk about what you need to do as a company, welcome back. If you haven't heard me go through this sequence of, I call them the 4 pillars, ICE is going to go into some more details, but I'm going to guide you through exactly what to pay attention to on this document, and then make sure that you save this document and read through it yourself and go through the content. So first thing here is, remember, it's one Encompass loan file. It's just 2 user interfaces. So, the expectation here, of course, is that we've had desktop now for 20 years. And we need to move on to the web. We need to move on with technology. We need to improve everyone's experience, not only yours and not only ICE's in terms of a support system, support platform for you, but also the borrowers, right? That's your clients. Or if you're TPO, your broker, business partners, those kinds of things. And so when we're talking about what to do here, first of all, it says right here, customers do not need to migrate from desktop to the web versions at a single point in time. Really crystal clear. I know I've said this before, but really set the stage. There is an incremental process to this. If you're interested, by the way, in understanding how to do this, just please reach out. Make sure if you have any questions about this, you can go ahead and put it in the comments, or you can just reach out to me directly here on the channel, or you can go to masteringencompass.com and really understand what this is all about. The web version, though, is going to give you the ongoing improved experience. And today, can you do everything in web that you can do on desktop? Definitely not. Is it getting closer? You better believe it. And so that's what this is really all about. The building blocks. Now, I call them the 4 pillars, but here you can see there's a lot more than 4, right? So we've got training, we've got Encompass Partner Connect service. We've got the web viewer, so that's the new doc viewer we also call it, enhanced conditions. We're going to talk about business rule cleanup in here, what to do about Encompass SDK, and then custom input form inventory, and then mapping existing workflow automation. So first thing is training. Now you can get a lot of great training from ICE Mortgage Technology directly, right? That's all in here. If you find you want an alternative, you can also check out masteringencompass.com. You can see we've got the training set up to Master Encompass, not only for administrators, but also users. So if we can help you out with that, great. But this goes a little bit deeper than just training, right? This is also getting into your heads as far as concepts that you want to understand. While we're moving from desktop to web, you're going to have workflow changes. And so this isn't just about settings. This is about paradigm shifts. And that goes in beyond what's in here. Naturally, you can see everything that ICE has to offer on the training standpoint. But I'm letting you know right now, when we go through, and especially with clients that I've helped migrate part of their teams to the web, or at least start to prepare their entire companies for leveraging the power of Encompass Web and all of the settings and enhancements that are there, training and understanding how you're going to do business throughout your workflow, critically important. And so that's what this really goes through to kind of focus in on. The next one is Encompass Partner Connect. Now, I've been saying for a lot of time here that Encompass Partner Connect, also known as EPC, that's the platform that all of the vendors need to migrate to. Currently, you go to the Services tab inside the Loan folder. Or maybe you go to the partner's website or something, and then they integrate into Encompass. Yeah, the way that you want to manage this really moving forward is really understanding the EPC, because there's going to be significant improvements in how not only the vendor or your partner service provider integrates in the loan file, but how they retrieve data and documents from your Encompass, and how they push documents and data into your Encompass to really enhance your workflow and create efficiencies and effectiveness in your workflow. So when we get into those details, you're going to have to make sure that you make a change to your doc viewer. So today in your Encompass, if you go into your E folder and you see a mountain and a sun, that's the old doc viewer. If you go there and you see a paper with a little green world, it looks like an internet symbol almost, that's the new doc viewer. You must have the new doc viewer to get onto Encompass Web. So that's this information right here, is to make sure that you understand submit a service request means open a ticket. So open a ticket with ICE, and they'll go through. There are changes. One of the most impactful changes to going to new doc viewer is the preview. It's not really called out here, but it's important to understand if your team is leveraging previewing of custom print forms, which opens up in Word so they can manually type, yeah, it's not going to work anymore. And so the easiest thing to do with that, by the way, solution for you, is just give them a place to type in what they want to change, and then map that field, that text field that they're typing into, map that into your custom print form, either directly or using macro, using merge field codes, things like that, macros. You can take care of this. It's not a big deal. So getting onto the new doc viewer, very important and a prerequisite. Now, enhanced conditions, there's a lot of information in here about enhanced conditions. There's a ton of updates even happening right now in 24.2 with enhanced conditions. It's going to even get better as more versions of Encompass roll out. So this goes into basically really explaining the benefits, obviously. But the reality is you need enhanced conditions to use on Encompass Web, because you cannot display standard conditions in a web-based environment. It just won't work. But I'm telling you right now, the value, you've got automation, you've got a better UI, you've got a better workflow. You really want to get on enhanced conditions. And the great news is within Encompass admin tools, you can actually convert all of your standard conditions into enhanced. And then while you're going through testing, even if you don't have a testing environment, there's a method to actually creating loans with enhanced conditions that I go through in my videos. If you need any help on that, again, put a message or a comment or just reach out to me directly. I'll be glad to give you that guidance. Business rule cleanup. Now, everybody's got business rules, right? And so when you look at what is going to stay in desktop business rules versus what are you going to recreate or maybe even create for the first time in Workflow Engine business rules, that's what this is talking about. That's where this is going. So if you look in your environment and you go into all your different business rule sets and you look at when they were last modified, if they're like many Encompass environments and those business rules have been around for years, in some case over 10, yeah, it means that it's probably working fine, but maybe it's not. Who knows? I mean, workflows have changed a lot. Encompass has changed a lot in the last 10 years. So you want to make sure you go through this reference of business rule cleanup and understanding what all of that means. And that leads us right into Encompass SDK Software Development Kit for those unindoctrinated, as well as plugin inventory. So this is all about making sure that you understand what is the old tech in your desktop experience, because none of that is going to work in web. Now, you can have plugins in web. You can have custom code in web and all kinds of customizations in web. But the stuff that's working in desktop, that's not going to work in the web. So if you go to your home tab within your Encompass desktop and you go down the far right-hand side, you'll see this module that's on screen right now called Custom. And you can click on the SDK so you can take inventory of what's there. Now, I've always said, if you don't know what's there, you should find out. And you can also see the last number of times that it was accessed and when it was last accessed to understand if it's something that's currently being used or not at all. So definitely take inventory and make the appropriate actions here. And this tells you how to export, and you can do all that kind of stuff. Now, this gets into custom input forms. Now, this is a hot topic for a lot of admins. And the good news is you don't have to recreate all of your desktop custom input forms into Encompass Web, nor should you want to. As a quick reminder, or again, if this is brand new, the input form builder on web is a responsive framework, which is completely opposite of what desktop is non-responsive. So it's not that you have to worry about how am I going to recreate everything I have in desktop and web. No, what you want to think about is changing the paradigm of what is important and how things work. And there's two main ways to deal with input forms and workflows in web. One of the ways that you can deal with input forms on the web is to not have input forms structured the same way. What you're going to want to do is consider breaking those up. And my personal preference is creating card-based views, which give you ways to basically bury in levels input forms in a strategic and meaningful way in your workflow. Again, if you'd love to see more, I've actually done videos on how to do this and what it means. Check those out. But this is definitely something that you want to think about. And this right here, does my administrative staff need training on JavaScript? It's web. Web means JavaScript. So the good news is you don't need to know JavaScript just to do anything as far as development on Encompass Web. But if you do want to create customizations on the web, if you do want to use JavaScript snips on the web, yes, you're going to have to at least understand JavaScript. Don't know if you need to be a JavaScript developer, but you need to understand it at the very least, because we're used to dealing with Visual Basic or VB.NET with Encompass Desktop, and that's changing to JavaScript with web. So definitely something to think about. When we get over into this part here with mapping current workflows, since 2011, which is when I started helping companies with their Encompass, at that time I worked for Ellie Mae as an implementation project manager, which is when I realized that no one has their workflow documented. So if I ask you the question, do you have your workflow documented? And you're like, maybe? Let's say you do have it documented, but it's not current or it's not being currently maintained, which is honestly usually the biggest problem. What you're going to want to do is document your workflow the way you have it. Not the way you want it, but the way you have it. And you're going to do that specifically to look for callouts of ways to pivot and automate that workflow and opportunities to save money or make your teams more efficient. This is the first way that you do it. You do it by documenting your workflow. If there's anything ever I could do to help you do that, it's one of the services that we offer. Please reach out and let me know. And that by far is saving the best for last, because when I tell you that the bigger problem that companies have with Encompass has nothing to do with Encompass. It is their workflow. My slogan has always been and will always continue to be workflow before technology. It's the reason why I created the whole Workflowology brand, because if you don't have a solid workflow, it doesn't matter what technology you have behind it. It just won't work. So that is the entire walkthrough of this Encompass journey, and hopefully it's been a great, valuable resource for you. If there's anything, again, we can ever do, please let us know. Subscribe to the Mastering Encompass channel. Leave any comments or questions below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. We'll see you there.